video watching. In order to better evaluate, and the ad is really trying to tell us, we can break it down as follows, because we have explained 4 dimensions, okay, namely cognitive, emotional, aesthetic, and moral. We will see what it is. On the cognitive dimension, we can assess what information the ad is conveying to us by asking some of the following questions. What is the ad? The ad is about weight loss. So what are the questions at the cognitive level we need to ask? What does this particular ad promise? Does it seem likely the drug can deliver on those promises? Can it happen? Who would need this kind of drug? So these are the basic questions that come under cognitive dimension. Emotional dimension. We can evaluate the feelings the creator of the ad wants us to feel. So what are they? We can only come to know through questions. Do they want us to feel insecure about our weight? Obviously, we are feeling insecure. We are not comfortable with our personality. Hence, with our physical personality. Hence, we are accessing that particular advertisement. Hence, we are focusing on that particular advertisement to lose weight. So we are feeling insecure. That's the deep down feeling. Do they want us to imagine the positive ways this drug could change our lives? Do they want us to envision the satisfaction we would feel after the drug delivers its quick fix? Okay. The next step, on the aesthetic dimension, we can determine how the ad employs messages and images to make us believe the product will deliver on its promises. So if you have seen, okay, certain images before and after, before she or he will be very fat, after exercises, after going through the particular medicine or particular exercises, the person slim, before and after, images are shown. Now, if you have access to city cables, you will come to know colors, that particular advertisement colors. Okay, they have adopted testimonial approach to advertisements. Okay, people who have become slim, they give testimony. Okay, after joining Colors, I was this way and then I have become this way. Colors has done wonderful things to me. Hence, I am very slim. So this sort of things these sort of things are come under aesthetic dimension. The way it is presented, the way it is projected to audience. Next one is moral dimension. We can examine what the ad makers wanted to say. What ad makers want to say? Are they equating thinness with happiness? So if I am slim, I'm happy. Is this the message the director wants to communicate? For example, owning an Apple iPhone gives a particular identity in the society. Using Apple mobile phones, okay, persons have a particular identity in the society, which means what? They are wealthy, they are rich. So it's an indication. It is an Apple iPhone is a symbol of prestige. Symbol of prestige. So likewise here. So what the director wants to say, is thinness equated to happiness? Or are they sending the message that it's moral failing when someone is overweight? Are they saying that one has to be thin to be loved and respected? This very, very, very impressive point here. Okay. If you are slim and thin, people love you, respect you. So these are the 4 dimensions we look at the theorist called Karen Dill Shackelford, who suggests to media literacy skills. Elizabeth Thorman, founder and president, Center for Media Literacy, Los Angeles, says that media literacy is an overall term that incorporates 3 stages of a continuum leading to media empowerment. What are these 3 stages? Number 1, first stage is simply becoming aware of the importance of managing one's media diet. Media diet, very important, student, media diet. So we have a diet. Diet means what? This much amount of only we need to eat. So we have a diet with regard to food. So we need to have a diet with regard to media. That's what says Elizabeth Thorman. That is, making choices and reducing the time spent with television, video, electronic games, films, and various print media forms. So watch out your media diet. What are you accessing? With regard to television, which news channels are you watching? How much time are you spending? Have a particular media diet. Second stage, it's learning specific skills of critical viewing, learning to analyze and question what is in the frame, how it is constructed, and what may have been left out. Skills of critical viewing are best learned through inquiry-based classes or interactive group activities, as well as from creating and producing one's own media messages. So second stage is concerned with critiquing, interpretation. Okay, how do you do that? Only by inquiry, only by questioning, only by analyzing, only by having interaction, discussion with your peers, with your friends. Don't stop with that. The second stage continues, okay? Needs to create, produce one's own media message. It can be in the form of a writing, in the form of a visual, in the form of a photograph. Okay, need to analyze critically. You need to analyze critically. Third stage, it goes behind the frame to explore deeper issues. Who produces the media we experience? Who produces the media which we experience? For that matter, you take news media. Okay, if a news is published, who is behind the news? Who is behind the news? Who are its audience? Who is the owner of the message? Very important aspect to analyze. Who is the owner of, who is the person behind this creation of content, creation of a message? Next question to focus is, what is the purpose of this message? Who profits from this? Who loses from this? And who decides? Who decides, students? I hope you're all from Andhra Pradesh. Hence, I give you an example from Dhruva film. If you have watched, there's a particular sequence. Okay, now very clearly mentions, because films are the representation of a society. Okay, in a particular sequence, the hero mentions there is a connection between first page news to the middle page news. Sorry, the middle page news. Okay, ultimately, who decides the particular news to come on the front page is the corporate, it's the businessman. They decide. If a particular news media organization is owned by a particular political party, he or she decides to read. That's where we study propaganda theory, agenda setting theory. Okay, next. Media literacy, nature, scope, and importance. Media literacy is an expanded conceptualization of literacy that includes the ability to access and analyze media messages as well as create. It's not stopping with accessing and analyzing. Okay, that which is very easy. Okay, accessing, okay, we have different, our own preferences, priorities. Analyzing, it's easy to formulate a judgment without any evidences, without any statistics to validate your point. Okay, very important to create and give expression to your analysis with the help of communication technologies. Media literacy entails the acquisition of a new culture in which technology and human beings are in harmony with and complement one another. Okay, human beings utilize technology. Of course, there is a who controls whom. Who controls, is technology controlling human being, or is human being controlling technology? Today, without this technology, these classes would have not been possible. And of course, we should also know how to use technology. Just created and kept at one side is not okay. Okay, since we know to use technology, since we know to utilize technology, we're able to make it possible. So it is technology and human beings are in harmony with each other. It is a culture poised for dialogue that is itself the outcome of dialogue and communication. A culture whose ideal is a type of person who is flexible, intelligent, diligent, and prepared to interact meaningfully with others through technology and with technology. A critical person who knows how to debate and discuss messages and proposals, reaching them from the outside. Critical person who knows how to debate and discuss messages, not just orally with the proof. You just observe. I just want to give you an example. If you have the habit of watching assembly live sessions, okay, the ruling party always has evidence to show or find fault with the previous government. Okay, because they are very strong, because they have evidence. I always admire the finance minister of Andhra Pradesh, Rajendra Nath Reddy Garu. Okay, he always speaks with point, evidence. So that means a lot of analysis has gone into his mind. Okay, just being a media literate does not mean just pass on judgments. No, you should have a balanced, correct opinion. Okay. A critical person also knows how to reveal their interior and their hidden agenda. What is the hidden agenda? A media literate should be able to understand this hidden agenda. Agenda means what? What people should think, how people should think. Okay, what people should think, how people should think. Okay, so there were when the former president of USA, Trump, came to India, there were a lot of issues to discuss about. Not with the person, but present. But just his visit has taken away all the issues. The whole paper covered his visit and his things. So that is the agenda. What people should think. So we, as a media literates, we should know. That's what we say. Read between the lines. Read between the lines. When you read between the lines, we will be able to understand the hidden agenda of a particular media organization. These media organizations operate based on their affiliation to political parties, their affiliation to a corporate, their affiliation to businessmen. Okay, that's what is discussed with regard to a propaganda model by Noam Chomsky. Hope you have studied in your third semester. What is the scope of media literacy? Media literacy promotes the critical thinking skills that enable people to make independent choices with regard to which media programming to select. Okay, media literacy skills will enable you to select Okay. Usually, all of us have selective reception, selective retention, selective attention. Okay. But with media literacy skills, you should be able to select. You should be able to select. Not only select, you should be able to interpret the information that you receive through various channels of mass communication. Media literacy provides strategies that enable individuals to decipher the information they receive through the channels of mass communication. These keys also provide a framework that facilitates the discussion of media content with others, including children, peers, and the people responsible for producing media programming. See, sometimes we have watched in the films, reality shows. Okay, in Tamil movies, it's very clear. Tamil movies, I do not know. Vijay Sethupathi acted in one of the Tamil movies, which represents what's happening in the reality shows. So, the particular reality show, the director of the program asks people to cry. Asks the participants to cry when they say particular comment. The judges give particular comment. Likewise, we see today, okay, in the D shows or whatever reality shows, okay, that's what is happening. But are we able to understand who is behind it? What is the agenda that they are delivering to the audience? Media literacy should not be considered as merely an opportunity to bash the media. Okay, that's very important. It's not merely finding fault with media. That's not the point. But we should be able to have a comprehensive understanding about a particular issue, a particular news, a particular item, okay, a particular person, a particular party. Within this context, critical analysis can heighten your awareness of media at its best. Insightful articles, informative news programs, and uplifting films. What is the importance of media literacy? What is the importance of media literacy? Because media literacy is important because it makes you a better citizen. Okay, better citizen. Okay, suppose you have constantly consumed Andhra Jyoti. You are constantly watching ETV News, ABN television news. Then you tend to develop a media slant or media bent towards TDP political party. You will not have a comprehensive understanding about a particular issue if you watch only particular television. Hence, you need to compare and contrast the news, how it is presented. There you will come to one judgment. There you don't stop. You need to respond to it. How do you respond? Maybe through letters to the editor, maybe through your opinions, having access to social media these days. Social media has become a great platform of expression. Okay. Next, media influence. So media sell audience consciousness. Media sells audience consciousness. Okay. The media influence so much on a person that we don't critically think. For example, advertisements. Okay, advertisements employ different strategies. Okay, different strategies. For example, if a product needs to be sold, okay, they give offers, buy one get one. Why they are giving? Why buy one get one? Is it qualitative? Why are they giving? These questions will enable the person to think. Because we are so passive that we fall prey to. The manufacturer and the management of information. Today, PR industry has become more and more. Okay, that's why people say, now what is the booming industry? It's a PR. Because they are involved so much in giving the public, the goodwill of the company or the goodwill of the institute or the organization for which they are working. For which they are working. If you want to know more about PR, better you watch Hindi films. There is something called, I think it is a Heroine, acted by Karishma Kapoor, one particular film. And then even Priyanka Chopra's film also is there, to understand the role of PR, Next is the increasing importance of visual communication and information. Okay, now every image has a meaning. Every image needs to be deconstructed. For example, I will just show you an example. See, I have just placed an image here. I would give you an analysis also here. Okay, we will go step by step. I will give you an analysis also. Okay, we will discuss more about visual communication. Seeing is believing. Seeing is believing today. Next, the growing privatization of information. Today, information is power. Information is money. Okay, information is power. Information is money. Who are all the, how do news media survive? It's because of advertisements. Because of advertisements. Okay, if you have watched page 3 film, no, in a particular sequence where the corporate, the elite people were involved in a, I think I am not able to remember this particular word, where they abuse children. Okay, that particular sequence, the police have caught them red-handed, and the news media has, I mean, the particular reporter and the photographer have clicked pictures, the reporter reported, but the news is just simply killed because that particular corporate who was caught red-handed was an advertiser for that particular news media. That information is money for him. That information is money for that particular CEO of the media institute or media organization. So he cached that information and suppressed information, first of all. I hope you'll better understand by watching page 3. Kindly watch films that are related to journalism, mass communication. You better understand the concepts because films are the representation of society. Okay, 6 reasons for teaching media literacy. Okay, I have already shared them in the previous slides, but little more are given. I mean, concise points are given here. Dan Blake of Canadian Association of Media Education says that when he was doing workshops on media literacy, the new basic, he presented the following 5 reasons. 5 reasons for teaching about the role of the media in society. So it's 6 reasons, 5 reasons, okay. We live in a mediated environment. We live in a mediated environment. Mediated environment means, okay, direct communication is between 2 persons, face to face. That's direct communication. Mediated communication means through a medium. Newspaper is a mediated communication. Mediated communication. Television, mediated communication. Internet, mediated communication. Phone, mediated communication. So we are living in this mediated environment. Hence, because we are living in a mediated environment, the message, for example, newspaper. Okay, as I mentioned, according to Noam Chomsky's 6 filters, news gets shaped, reshaped, and misshaped because it's a mediated environment. So the reporter reports, gets a report and submits to the sub-editor or editor, and then he reshapes, misshapes according to the objectives of the organization, according to the organization's, whatever they have for the day. Okay. Next, Media literacy teaching is very important because media literacy emphasizes critical thinking. Critical thinking. It is, no, critical thinking means we need to be active audience. We need to be active audience, not passive audience. Active audience question. Active audience reflect. Active audience think. Active audience come out with their own interpretations, okay? You need to think. So media literacy emphasizes critical thinking. Critical thinking, in other words, reading between the lines. Suppose a particular person is supported by a particular newspaper. That means they must have come under one particular affiliation. What is that affiliation? It can be political affiliation, it can be class affiliation, it can be caste affiliation. So you should be able to understand this dynamics. Being media literate is part of being an educated citizen, not just consuming and going, not just consuming and living without any effect on you, okay? An educated citizen always responds through his own. No, if you have gone through the Facebook for certain journalists, okay, I follow the journalist Dara Gopi Garu from Vijayawada. Whenever he shares his opinion, people just throw their own ideas, okay, reflect along with him, either opposing or in line with his thoughts. But here the point is, you are able to critically think. And respond. So by responding, you are able to prove yourself a better citizen or educated citizen, or in other words, responsible citizen. Media literacy promotes active participation in media saturated environment. That's what precisely we are talking about. You are partaking in the discussion. You are by participating, you are dissecting the message or the content or the information and trying to understand who is the producer, who are the audience, who is the owner of, or who carved it, what is the purpose of this message, okay? Why headlines need to be in this way only? Why only that particular word is coined? Why that particular letter is highlighted? Why? The question of why. Should always come to your mind when you want to be a media literate. Engage yourself with the discussions with your peers. Discuss about the issue. Discuss about the ideas that are disseminated through media. Media education helps us to understand communication technologies. For example, films, okay? We imagine that the backgrounds that are created with the help of computer technologies are actually real, but it is not the case. They are shot on green mat or blue mat, and the backgrounds are added to it. Okay, we need to understand these communication technologies. So when we think of literacy, there are two other literacies, namely digital literacy and visual literacy. We will see what they are also. Digital literacy, it means having the skills you need to live, learn, and work in a society where communication and access to information is increasingly through digital technologies like internet platforms, social media, and mobile devices. How far you are social media literate is a part of digital literacy. How much do you know to utilize mobile devices? How many of you are equipped, well-equipped? I mean, no, our generation, or younger generation, like students, they're well-versed. Our fathers, our grandfathers, they were not well exposed to these technologies. Hence, they were not literate. But today's generation is very much, they are very much literate. Sometimes I wonder my students, no, they are, because they are so much saturated, as I said, as Marshall McLuhan said, does fish know it's wet? Okay. They come up with, when we give certain presentations to make, they come up with a lot of creativity by utilizing the digital technology that is present. Digital literacy is often discussed in the context of its precursor, media literacy. Media literacy education began in the United Kingdom and the United States as a result of war propaganda in the 1930s, and the rise of advertising in the 1960s, respectively. Manipulative messaging and the increase in various forms of media further concerned educators. Okay, manipulating, because images are manipulated or distorted, visuals are manipulated and distorted. Okay, you can observe by way of editing. Okay, so you need to be aware of this. By observing, by being aware, by knowing, you become digital literate about the technologies that are employed in the field of media, Rene Hobbs developed a list of skills that demonstrate digital and media literacy competency. Digital and media literacy includes the ability to examine and comprehend the meaning of messages, judging credibility, and assessing the quality of digital work. The quality of digital work. If you want, for example, if you want to have a very good quality of a video, you need to use a quality camera. Okay, you cannot expect HD quality with a simple camera. Okay, you should know the technology. Okay, you should know the technology. Okay, so sometimes you need to comprehend and examine the meaning of messages also. For example, in films, if they want to communicate something sad, or no, it's communicated differently by way of utilizing lights, okay, by a way of color, by way of lighting. So you should be able to understand all these. Digital literacy involves knowledge of producing other forces of media like recording and uploading video. How far are you literate with regard to recording your own videos, your own audios, and uploading them to appropriate channels like social media, Facebook? For example, you have a family function, you have taken videos. Have you edited it? Do you know to edit and share with others? Next is visual literacy. The term visual literacy was the invention of John Debus when he was education projects coordinator at Eastman Kodak in 1969. He is the one who coined the term. What does it mean? It literally, if you take literal means, it's a group of vision competencies a human being can develop by seeing and at the same time having and integrating other sensory experiences. Okay, need not to worry about the exact expansion, but kindly get what it means, the visual literacy. Okay, I will explain to you then example in the next slide. Today, the most coherent definitions are from comics author Scott McCloud. In a 1933 notification book in the graphic novel format, McCloud proved himself as leading theorist of visual literacy. In Understanding Comics, the Invisible Art, McCloud described how artists can control core elements of their work, including form, that means the shape, the form, the idiom, and structure, and to convey messages with precision. So the artist, or in simple terms, the director knows how to communicate a particular message through visuals. But how you as an audience deconstruct that particular visual, because certain times the idea of director can match with the idea of the audience. Certain times it cannot, because that's why Gadamer talks about horizon of horizons. Horizon of meanings are, so number of meanings are possible. Number of meanings are possible because the interpretation depends on each individual. For me, it may be good. For you, it may not be good. Again, this interpretation based on our own background, cultural, social, economic, the way of upbringing, it all matters. It all matters. Again, here the creation of visual also, what's the background that you have? What's the background that you have? For example, director Boyapati Sinu. So he had made good films, number of films with regard to, with the Balakrishna as hero. In all his films, he communicates TDP ideology. I am not involving political parties here, but I want you to understand. That when we say media literacy, visual literacy, are you able to understand? No, deconstruct. A particular sequence in a Simha film. It is also, I'd say, lot of spoofs also made on that particular sequence where Balakrishna delivers dialogues. Don't talk about history, blood. Ours is the first thing to come into. So all these things, what are they ultimately trying to tell? So are we able to get this? Are we able to analyze from this particular point of view? Colors affect mood, okay? The choice of colors in visual matter a lot. For example, I want you to analyze a particular, this is an advertisement, Vera Wang Princess, okay? This is a female photograph. That does not show just a female photograph or a female person, but it has a connotation like youth. She very young, okay, very young, slim, healthy, beauty, royalty also is given by crown, and by face smile she communicates happiness, life, see the bed, all this luxury. So all these things are connotated. So the visual she communicates. These positive connotations can work as the signifier for the mythic. Okay, we are talking about myth. Okay, semiotics is a myth from the point of view of Roland Barthes. Okay, but I want you to understand visual. Positive connotations can work as the signifier for the mythic signified. What is the mythic signified here? Feminine beauty. Feminine beauty. This meaning is carried over onto the name of the perfume. So if you use this perfume, you are beautiful, you are happy. The perfume becomes linguistic sign and connote the feminine beauty. All these connotative meanings are the ingredients of a myth. Placing the woman, okay, in the previous image, just observe, okay. Placing the woman next to the product actively constructs a relationship between the woman and the product. See where the product is. The product is very close to the person. And she is like a kind of hugging like, or very close. That means it's closeness is communicated. Ad conceals the way that it works. Do not literally announce that perfume will make you seem beautiful. By using that particular perfume, you think you become beautiful? That's what the message is communicated through this visual, through the design of advertisement. Message is communicated by the structure of signs in the ad. Ideological view of feminine beauty is not natural because feminine beauty is not always signified by youth. Even there are few middle-aged people, old-aged people who look still beautiful. Okay, same visual if you analyze from the Marxist analysis. It is economic distinction between individuals and societies. Some are owners and others are workers. Okay. Ads replace it. There is an economic distinction. Who will be the person? Whom do you think are the persons will be utilizing this perfume? Obviously the elite. Obviously the wealthy. The rich. We are distinguished from others by means of the kinds of products which we consume. As I mentioned in the previous, when we are talking about previous slides, the mobile phone. Suppose if we are using Apple, we are considered to become part of particular class. In other words, the clothes that you wear, the shoes that you wear, the pen that you utilize, the specs that you keep define you, who you are. That's what in this, that's the world we are in. Ads contribute to the myth that our identity is determined not by production, but by consumption. Very important. Okay. So our identity is determined by what we consume. What we consume. For example, if you consume Red Bulls, then you are a particular category. If you consume soda, you become to particular category. So your identity is determined by what you consume. Here, with this particular visual, okay. So people who are using this particular product can be determined by, can be determined and say they are rich class, wealthy class. Ads mask the real structure of society. Okay, this is one way to understand visual, students. One way to understand visual. Okay. We'll go to second chapter. I think I have only 3 slides, prepared 3 slides. We'll see what. Second chapter focuses on mass media literacy. Mass media literacy. Okay. So in which we talk about media ubiquity. Media ubiquity means media is present everywhere. We observe media's presence from rising to resting. As I given you in the previous explanation. As soon that's what I wanted to ask you a question. What do we do as soon as we get up? If you're honest, you would say, as soon as I get up, I take my phone, switch on WhatsApp, and check who has sent messages and what messages. Immediately, if they are appealing, then immediately forward it to other groups. From rising to resting. Okay, resting. So going to bed. When you are on bed, what do? You are with media. You want to purchase particular product, maybe mobile phone. What do? Immediately surf and check with the help of media, with the help of technology. Yeah. We are in a situation where we cannot escape from media. We depend a lot on media for anything and everything. We depend on media. There is a lot of dependence on media for information, for education, for entertainment, for our personal needs, for personal gratifications. Yeah. Next point is mediated communication. Mediated communication has 2 distinct sides. The first one is the content production. That's what I mentioned here, content production. The second one is content reception. Content production, for example, here, when a news report is published in a newspaper, the content may be same for any reader. Okay, maybe, for example, let us say, okay, let us say 4 people like R Lakshman, no, 4 people are elected for Rajya Sabha from Andhra Pradesh. They are namely Niranjan Reddy Garu, then Vijay Sar Reddy Garu, then the Bidar Mastan Rao Garu. Okay, one more R Krishnaya Garu. Okay. So the content about this nominating for Rajya Sabha is same everywhere, same in every newspaper. That's content production. But content reception, how you receive, how you interpret will be different. Okay, you have different calculations to think about. Why this particular person? Why not this person? Why this person? Okay, this question of why enlightens you. So here what you need to observe is this particular content is mediated. Okay, for example, what's the difference between mediated communication, direct communication is face to face. Okay, it is immediate, immediately you get. Okay, whereas mediated communication through medium. Okay, as I mentioned, you are getting the information about 4 persons who are nominated for Rajya Sabha through newspaper. So it's mediated through newspaper. It can be the same news mediated through television. Okay, at first step, the content is same, but the second step, content reception varies. Okay, here, but the meanings derived from the content may differ from individual to individual depending on his social, religious, political background. This means in mediated communication, an organization produces content but has no power to regulate or guide the interpretation of the content by the readers. So the newspaper, the television cannot predict the interpretation of an audience. People will not say the director of a particular film has particular intention or information to communicate, purpose to communicate, but the same is not understood by the audience. It may be different. Okay, in a mediated communication, they have only can communicate. They have no control over interpretation. They have no control over interpretation, or in other words, they have no power to regulate the interpretation. So far, any doubts from these, chapter 1 and chapter 2, whatever that is presented, students? So the rest we will continue in the next class. I just wanted to show you one clipping. Give me a moment, students. I would like to play that clip for you. Hope my screen is visible to you.
But I started reading it.
Yes, sir. Visual, sir.
Suddenly, approached a newspaper. It's like an announcement of the page party fund.
Audio is not clear, sir.
It is full, sir. Full, sir, from my side. Maybe I will share the link.
Okay, sir.
So I just to share, if you are interested, please watch it once again. What is the point that I want to communicate? You need to read between the lines. Just don't be passive audience, but active audience. Read between the lines any news that is that you come across, that you have access to, that you have access to. Precisely, that's precisely access, analyze, evaluate, and create. And create. Yeah, if you don't have any doubts, we can call it a day, students. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, thank you.